back, everybody. I'm your host, Bruce.
And I'm your host, Pete.
And we are The Epic Experiment.
If you're new to the show, we talk about all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on primarily playing Commander.
Our show is available on thelotuscouncil.com, your favorite podcast apps, and a variety of social media platforms.
If you want to reach out to us, check the show notes below for our contact information.
Now, on with the show.
Let's get after it.
All right. And we're back. Pete, you usually you're the first one to talk, you know that, right?
Sometimes, when I see fit, yeah.
Usually you ask me a question about something next, because that's just how that goes. You go, hey, Bruce, can you see...
Yeah, hey, Bruce. It doesn't sound good.
What's up, Pete? Can we sound dumber? We could.
Well, yeah, we could, but I was supposed to get a snowball mic from a friend, and he totally forgot to give it to me. So
oh, no!
I could have had better audio equipment for this recording, but I'm going to have to wait.
Which will be very, very good eventually.
One day we'll be professionals, bro. We'll just do this and...
Robbie?
Yeah, bro. We're thinking... I love when people do that on records. They're like, yeah, bro, it is good to know this, and I had this cool story about how I walked down the street. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, these people do not check when they're talking to each other on the podcast. On the cast.
Going to work, and I end up having to listen to the children at school. Like, bruh, Mr. Gray, check it out. I go, no.
They don't say, yo, mister. They don't say, yo.
They call me Mr. Gray or Monsieur Greg, as I teach in French. And I'm like, no, I'm not, you can't bruh me. And then they go, Skibbity Ohio Rizzler. I'm like, stop.
These kids got a different language.
On God, no cap, Mr. Gray. I'm like, you can stop right there, because those are not words that are coming out of your mouth. You can stop. Just please. You're killing me. So
might as well just speak some New Brunswick style slang or something. You know what I mean? You might as well just go out there and...
I like how you picked New Brunswick, man.
Yeah, you shovel it, dog. Yeah, I'm cultured. North American. I know what's up, bro.
What? You could have just easily broke out, go to the Jersey Shore, man. You're like, let's go to New Brunswick.
Oh man, no.
I'm sorry, audience. We got off on the wrong foot already. But
we're waffling already. We haven't even started, so this is bad.
We're back, folks. It's been a while. We've been busy. I mean, June has been one heck of a ride for me, buddy. It has been wild.
I used to have a car, Yes,
I
used to have a car. My car is totaled, so it's gonna take me a bit to,
But did you get to take Bambi? Did you take Bambi home and have some medicine? Oh.
No, man.
All right.
That's what
we do. That's what we do up here.
I had friends asking me,
do you want to take it home?
I had friends asking me, they were like, "Hey, did you put it? Where was I gonna put it? It's a Corolla. What am I gonna? I don't have bungee cords to strap it to the roof." And it was 8 o'clock at night. It was 8 o'clock at night, and it could barely roll. So I'm gonna put this, 60 pounds, 80-pound animal on the roof of my car. Yeah, it's smart,
dude. If you hit a deer, it's more like a 400-pound animal.
It was a mini one. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was a baby. It wasn't a baby because it could walk, but it was stupid though. It was a stupid deer, but it did not know where it was.
No, Pete.
It was rattled, dude.
You know we're gonna get hate mail from all the Bambi lovers out there. They're gonna be telling us that we're insensitive. So stop. All right, but we're back. It's been one heck of a month there, guys. So, but we're back. You got the Epic Experiment back, bringing some more fantastic, some more stuff, some noise for your ear holes to enjoy. So if you've been missing out on your Epic Experiment, hope you're catching up on the back episodes. But we're gonna start with you ready to go there, my man?
Yeah, I mean, our audio's working. Everything seems to be going okay this time around.
Yeah, we're good. Let's get her done.
So it was a little scratchy, but we had fun, so that's all that matters, right?
It was a little scratchy. Audience, if you stuck with us through the last one, Thank you. It was a little difficult, so appreciate you guys bearing with us. All right, up first, we got some garbage or great. Are you ready, Pete?
Yeah, we're not doing the intro this time.
Well, dude, we already got the intro. Remember, we got to this is like we're gonna roll and start, baby, right now, right into it.
Okay. All right. Well, we can just jump right in then. What'd you got for
Yeah.
us? What'd you got for us, man?
Okay.
What you got?
My internet's there it is. Kozilek's Unsealing. It's an enchantment from Modern Horizons 3. And it's 2 and a blue for an enchantment. It's a devoid, so it's actually colorless. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4, 5, or 6, create 2/0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens with sacrifice this creature, add a colorless. And then whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 7 or greater, draw 3 cards. What do we think about this sort of enchantment?
Well, the first thing I was thinking, which was brain empty, I don't know where I would put this into a deck, because I guess artifacts could potentially want this thing, or if I'm doing some sort of token, it just seems like a Simic card, Bruce. I'm sorry. It seems like a Simic card.
Well, it definitely seems like a Simic card, because that's the only deck that I think obviously leans into playing creatures big enough to trigger this regularly. Yeah. And let's be real, the idea being here is that you play this into and play it to get a couple of mediumly sized creatures to get the tokens, so you can ramp something out gigantic. And I'm like, unless the only place this is obviously sits is an Eldrazi deck, everything else is like, I don't know about this.
Hold on.
Yeah.
This will go absolutely insane in Essex. Sorry, Essex. The 6 mana Simic, whenever the first time you make a token, you can choose a creature and make copies of it instead. You know what I'm talking about? That would be kind of weird, or you know what I mean? Or blue, even potentially blue-white if you're going more of an aggressive sort of strategy. You might want the extra manas or something, but I'm not really. I don't
know. Well, I was thinking outside of the obvious Eldrazi inclusion, I'm thinking big sea monsters deck, like big kraken, big octopi, that sort of stuff. And otherwise, I think for you to get max value out of this, you have to be pretty devoted to doing something kind of ridiculous. So I feel like this is a bit of a trap. This incentivizes you to go down a path in Commander that I'm not convinced is necessarily the answer to get you out of whatever problem you're in. You've loaded your deck up with a lot of heavy, big hitting creatures with the intention of ramping out tokens that you can then sack said tokens to make even bigger things. And the other option is to go wider with doubling season and that sort of stuff and make more tokens and then go wide. But I'm like, why would I cast big fatties to go wide when I just cast the efficient token makers that already exist? So I kind of feel like this is a bit of a trap. I think unless you're an Eldrazi deck where this is
let's get you there. Sure.
Well, it's got you. It's perfect for what that deck wants to do. But outside of that, I've been looking at the EDA, the EDH rec profile.
Yeah.
And Emoti seems okay. That's the one that rewards you for casting spells that cost 6 or more. Then you got Kiora, Sovereign of the Deep, so big sea creatures. Dragon, because I guess dragons are all huge, so sure. And then after that, you're getting into things like Animar, because Animar ends up having
cost. Sure, it replaces itself immediately, pretty much. You cast a Gore Claw or something, you get the 2 tokens, you get to cast something else that's basically for free. I was even thinking, the Sphinx decks, their 7 mana commander.
Yeah.
That might even do something with this, potentially. Yeah. Or if you're doing some sort of weird creature type that needs that sort of ramp in that color, even Ovika, the red blue that makes the little goblins, that might be something to maybe even try out. Or if you're doing a Pro S deck and you want to really take advantage of going wide by triggering this, with Narset, with the 4 mana Narset, That might work. But again,
Maybe.
I think Geggy's like I think the creature. If it was just a spell, then it would be really easy and flexible. But because it's creature spells, it kind of
Yeah, it has
limits
to be a
the
creature spell as you
avenue.
cast.
Right,
But
it
this is,
limits the
I mean,
avenue you can go. I guess in this sort of color. I wouldn't
yeah,
be
I mean,
surprised if someone did this in like a Sultai build, though. You know?
yeah, no, I mean, you're probably right. I mean, the inclusion rate's so high in some of these decks because it appears in the precon. So
Sure.
that's why the inclusion rate's so high.
Yeah. It was like
But
Awakening Zone when that came out.
yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
just very high inclusion rate, but I'm not convinced that outside of the Eldrazi decks, it really is a great tool. Although maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some big sea creature deck's gonna run it and chain together a couple of big fatties and kill me with them. So I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not convinced that this is particularly awesome. And I'm going to have to see somebody kill me with it in order for me to say, oh, okay, there we go. That's how that's done.
It'd be really crazy to do like Whole Breacher Horror, like, and just keep bouncing it back to hand to draw a bunch of cards. That would be kind of crazy. But that's like Magical Christmas Land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit.
Or like a Cloudstone Curio sort of vibe. But anyway, that's just me. That's just me talking because I love that
Well,
card so much.
that's you taking it to an extreme, which I mean, like I appreciate that, but I mean, like I'm trying to think of
Not
the average
realistic.
case, the average
Yeah.
case scenario where you're going to be like, you don't have a Cloudstone Curio, or you don't have some way to recur and make
Bounce.
and cast
Sure.
and because it's even a cast trigger, it's not an ETB, so like,
Right.
you just can't flicker big things in and out of play. You have to actually spend the mana and cast them. So
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a trap. I'm not sold on it. I'm gonna watch somebody else kill me with it first before I get on board.
That's the spirit. All right. This next one. This next one, my friend.
I'm just gonna let myself get smashed by somebody who's got this card. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel though. Because all these cards is like a wall of text, and whatever. So, shout out to Wheel of Misfortune because it's misfortunate that we have to figure out how to resolve this spell. So, so cheers to that. But my friend played this common against me. Right, it's an MH3 common. He has a deck for his wife. It's a Miri deck, the green white cat that restricts combat when it's tapped.
Yeah.
So he played this common that I want to read to you. I think it's low key pretty good. It's only 15 cents too, so it's called Malevolent Rumble. It's a sorcery from MH3. It's colorless and a green. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand, and then put the rest into your graveyard, and create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn.
This card is excellent. Like, so this is analogous to a Satyr Wayfinder, right? So Satyr Wayfinder, same mana cost, cast at same speed because it's a creature, so it has to be cast at sorcery speed. Mills 4, and you have to put a land in your hand.
Yeah, for that one. Yep.
Yeah. This allows you to pull any permanent card, and it still makes a body, just like Satyr Wayfinder does. So this is effectively a Satyr Wayfinder that allows you to go and dig up any permanent. So if you happen to pull a potent artifact, you can pull it a land. If you need a land, you get a land. If you need a creature, get a creature. It's so useful in what it accomplishes for such a cheap amount of mana that there's really no other way to view this. Further to that, it dumps them all in the graveyard, not on the bottom of the deck in some random order, and it leaves you behind a body that you can also sacrifice to continue to chain off, or maybe you want the body for some other purpose, Cryptolith Rites, or you're looking to overrun, or you're looking to do something else. Like, you just have yet another body that you can then use for whatever nefarious purpose you're dreaming up. So there's nothing about this card that is not good. It is such a and it's while it's a slight upgrade in terms of words compared to Satyr Wayfinder, it's a significant increase in power when you put it to practice in a deck. So I'm sold, and many other people will be too. Pete, tell me I'm wrong.
No, I think, again, I don't think this is an auto-include in every single deck, but it's very reminiscent of like other cards we've seen in the last few years, like Mulch, which is reveal the top 4, put all lands revealed this way into your hand, rest in your graveyard. Seek the Wilds, look at the top 4, maybe reveal a creature or land. I really do think this is the first one that doesn't have a restriction like these other cards, where it's like a specific type. Even like a Shigeki, where you're channeling it to get them back, or you're tapping it and bouncing, you only get the land when you reveal the top 4 as well. That goes into play. So I think in like a mono green deck, in a deck that's creature heavy, or has maybe enchantments, this is low key a really good enchantment like card, where you're pulling out enchantments in like green white, for example, or you're playing an Aura's list or something, because it doesn't limit the enchantments that you can hit, and if you're able to recur them, which most of these decks do anyway, you don't lose anything. Because my only concern is you might lose something. You might have to choose between two things. Where like my friend, he used it more so I think to get a land out, really, more so than anything else. Which nine times out of 10, that's probably what this card will do for you. It's good early game. Late game, it's like probably not the best card to be drawing at the end, but it depends. It depends on like if you're stacking your deck or something, in some way, then that like which you probably would be able to do. That's
I mean, like if you can Sensei's top before you do this, have the capacity to go and like I mean, lots of decks run Sensei's top. It's hugely popular, and so now you have the capacity to go and manipulate the top of your deck, pass this, get the permanent you want off the top of your deck, and you're off to the races. And like maybe you want. Go ahead.
I think low key in a Gruul deck, this would be really powerful, because every card ideally is going to be a hit. But I think in other decks, like we've talked about this before, I think other base green decks, it might not be what you need per se at 2.
Yeah.
If your strategy doesn't have any sort of way to recur some things, it might feel bad to put them in the yard. But for 15 cents, I mean, it's one of those cards you can test, and if you don't like it, you can just take it out. It doesn't hurt anything.
Agreed. I think it has some pretty good upside. So I think 15 cents to test it out and find out it's good, I think is pretty easy peasy stuff to put in. Yeah. So
all right. Yeah. For our viewers, the theme today, we've been doing lots of common uncommons for our garbage or great. So we're going to talk more MH3 commons and uncommons. Bruce, we love that we have these options now that we never had before.
There are so many good commons and uncommons. Like I know lots of shows have talked about the rares and the mythics, which are also admittedly cracked, like right out of the shell. Like they're nuts. But there's plenty of really strong commons and uncommons that are really good upgrades to that reinforce the strategy that probably got overlooked by lots of people. So I think it's well worth our time to invest in some of these, because the nice part of being commons and uncommons, they tend to be more affordable. And if they provide good punch in your deck, then they're good inclusions to be talking about. So I got one here that I think is pretty interesting as far as people who are running Simic decks or green-blue X decks. I have Snapping Voidcraw. So 1 green-blue for a 1/3 as an Eldrazi turtle as Devoid. And you can tap it to add 2 colorless mana, or 3 and a colorless mana and tap it to draw a card. And anything that makes 2 mana gets my attention, because once you get things that make 2 mana, it's pretty easy to find multiple ways to untap them, or untap them again and untap them. And so if you can keep looping this, you can generate a very large amount of mana with your Voidcraw and do some really powerful things, whether it's Eldrazi things, or you use that in some sort of other like a Thrasios style, or now you're using it to power through your deck. I just think that like this is a dangerous effect. Anytime they give us 2 colorless mana on a permanent, anything that makes 2 mana really is dangerous, because like how many times have we seen cards like that make 2 mana become a problem? Like the whole Amulet Titan deck is premised on lands that make 2 mana, and
no, I was gonna say like this is like turn 3 you play this, turn 4 you have 6 mana already.
Yeah,
And it doesn't restrict, where like a lot of these tap for 2 the last few years, they've restricted in some way. They say use this mana only to cast a specific permanent type or kind of spell. And it's a 1/3, so it's hard. Like, yeah, someone will lightning bolt it if they're playing a specific, format or something. But in this,
it blocks 1/1s and 2/2s very effectively.
And like Kinnan, like I was just thinking about your Kinnan CDH deck and how, like, maybe this isn't played in that deck, but it's still worthy of consideration.
I think you're right. I think that the card it could be an inclusion there. Like, I'm looking at the sort of top ones as well. I mean, it ends up teaming up with the Eldrazi ones first, but I'm looking at.
You're on EDH Rec here.
Yeah, I'm EDH Wrecking this one, and like it's. I just think the card is pretty strong. Like it just.
Well, imagine like you rampant growth on turn 2. You play this on turn 3, so then you have 7 mana on turn 4.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. Like you can get a lot of mana. You can
squeak some stuff out there. I mean, it almost makes me want to pick it up so I can rebuild that mana value 3 or greater list. You remember the Volrath list?
with Karuga, right?
Rest in peace to that list. It's retired, but but while you're searching, why don't I go next for the next?
I've seen what I wanted to see. It doesn't appear because if it's so new. It doesn't really appear in a lot of other decks. At this point, most of the inclusions stem right from the Eldrazi decks, Eldrazi precons. But I'm speculating that I think this card is got some upside, and then once you're done ramping, now it's a card draw engine that you can utilize the same way, where you can tap it, untap it, draw a bunch of cards, and you go and refill your grip. Now it's expensive, but if you're playing Simic pile of value, you probably have mana to spend on stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, What did you find?
Oh, this is just this card is literally the exact same thing as Deadly Dispute, except you don't make the treasures. It's Eviscerator's Insight. It's a common instant. Pay 1. It's a colorless in black, or other color or other mana and a black. As a no cast, to cost sacrifice an artifact, creature, draw 2 cards, and it has flashback for 5. And the reason I include it is because it has flashback for 5. It's super. I mean, this is no brainer as a card, especially in black decks.
No, for sure. Like it's good early, it's great late. There's nothing not to like.
It's fine.
Like really,
we don't have to really talk about it that much. So
it's a great upgrade. So if somebody's out there running Deadly Dispute, well, now you have a direct upgrade to put in your deck. So
excellent redundancy too, with like Village Rites, all those other effects.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next one. What do you got?
All right, I got this one. So this is one that I saw this one. So this is Breaker of Creation. 6 colorless for an 8/4, and then whenever you cast the spell, you gain 1 life for each colorless permanent you control. It has hexproof from each color. There, that got my attention right there. Hexproof from each color. And then it still has Annihilator too.
Okay. So that's crazy because you can target it with your stuff.
Yes.
You can target it with your abilities, but they can't target it with theirs unless they have a colorless thing to do. Like, it gets around so much removal. Yes. This is insane. This is a crazy... I mean, wow. Like, I think I had a friend who just played this in his Cedrus deck as well, but I'm not entirely sure.
The card, and to me, like, you're not trying to cast this. Like, this is not an effective card to try and cast. But if you could reanimate it or find some other way to get it into play, you now have a scary, scary bomb that's going to, it's going to force your opponent to dedicate blocking things to destroy this, because they can't cast a spell at it, or it's going to, and I'm not convinced it's quite at a level like where it's going to draw a board wipe immediately. This is what I think is going to happen. I'm going to predict. So you're going to play this card, Pete. You're going to resolve it, and your opponent's going to look at you and go, "That's pretty big, but I don't know if I need a board wipe yet." And then you get an attack with it, and then the Annihilator 2 triggers going to go on the stack, and they're going to say, "Screw this. This is going to die," and they're going to blow the board up. But like, you've already got your value. You've got your thing. You've gained the life. Like, this thing is just there's just a reanimation target that is just doing enough stuff that you're like, and it's going to be cheap, right? It's an uncommon. It's going to be cheap.
I think it'll upset a bunch of people in casual pods because they're not going to expect, they're going to try to path it or something, and then they're going to be like, oh, I can't target it. Like, there was no reason that this card needed that clause of text, and there was no reason that it needed Annihilator 2 in addition to it. They could have picked one or the other, and that would have been totally fine. But I think people are going to be upset about it. I think it's it's one of those cards I think we'll look back on because, yeah, okay, it's 8 mana, but it just does so much. It's like Archon of Cruelty in that sense. It does a lot.
Yeah, the similarities to Archon of Cruelty.
Archon is obviously infinitely better in terms of what it does because it draws you cards or whatever, it gains you life and it makes them remove stuff. But this is like a budget version of that sweeper. Yeah, it's like a sweeper, man. Like I wouldn't be sad getting to play this in like a draft cube somewhere. You know what I mean? I'd have no problems playing this card. So
card is dumb.
I'm glad that's in our list. All right, the next card that I have is kind of like a brainstorm, which I think people have probably talked about so far, but I think this card is going to be a really, really nice way for these storm decks to finish the game. So it's 3 mana instant, it's 2 of one other color, colorless, etc., and a blue, and it's draw 4 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. So it's a brainstorm, but you get to draw 4, and you keep 2. Which I think is great. What do you think?
Well, I think the card A has been power crept out of this world. So I'm going to read for you another card. So this is an instant. Draw 4 cards, then discard 2. For 3 blue-red. It's entitled Thought Flare out of Return to Ravnica. So 10 years ago, we got this card at 5 mana. Now we're getting it at 3. And like this card, I don't know how many times people are playing Thought Flare in Commander, but like the power creep is real. So now we have single color, 1 colored pip, 4 cards, instant speed, and you got to pitch 2. That like none of those are drawbacks because if you're playing this, you're playing in a deck that wants to pitch stuff anyway. So like this card is very good. It's going to be a nice upgrade on some other effect. Like that's the same mana cost as Divination. And you can do an instant speed C4 and still pitch 2. Like if you could literally draw 4 cards and throw 2 from your hand that you do not want. So like there's no drawback here. So if you're playing a Divination or anything that's at all comparable, you're going to go to your deck. You're going to find the Divination and you're going to remove it. You're going to take it out of the sleeve. You're going to find this Brain Search. You're going to put it in the sleeve. And you're going to shuffle your deck and you're going to play the game. And there's nothing else to be said for the card. It's just good. You're going to play it.
Yeah, it's like a Forbidden Alchemy as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a sense, like there's so many 3 mana instants out there, but I don't think I've seen something like this in a very long time. For the rate that you're getting those cards, I'm sure people at CDH are finding ways to bring it into the forefront for blue.
It's really good. Like
you vamp tutor, you play this, like you get what you need, you win the game. I mean, anyway, what do you got?
All right, next I got Is It Generatorium. So I have as someone who's been really excited about the energy support that has come out this year in both the Fallout set and now in Modern Horizons 3. This card is kind of exactly the sort of jam I want to build because I was building energy decks before energy decks were cool. So
I had one in Modern actually. Like it was a Tamir energy deck, and it was not very good.
Well, I have a Jeskai energy deck where my energy sources are the whales. So the
I remember you told me, and I've seen you play this against me, and it just doesn't do anything, and then it just bounces all the permanents, and I'm like, this is not fun anymore.
This is not fun anymore. So anyway, I was building energy decks before energy decks were cool, and this is going to allow me to make more energy. I'm like, well, I'm in. This seems like fun. So it reads like this: blue-red artifact. If you get 1 or more energy, you get that many energy plus 1 instead, and tap, draw a card. Activate only if you paid or lost 4 or more energy this turn. So it's making more energy for you in the same way that like Winding Constrictor puts extra counters on things. And then when you're like, oh, I have too much energy, what could I do with it? Or I'm going to spend my energy and do something silly, and now I'm going to draw cards for it too. Like, there's no, like, if your energy deck and your Liberty Prime or your Madison Lee or you're into anything else, you're going to have energy. You're going to want to spend it, and you're going to be able to profit this thing as it just sits there and draws you cards and passively makes you more energy. Big fan. I like it. I'm in.
I remember playing Aetherworks Marvel, and I would find ways to like untap it and pay it again and continue to do that. So I'm sure there are people out there that are doing that right now, where they're finding ways to just get enough energy, 4 energy, and then tap it, draw a card, untap it, draw again, and because like it just says you only have to pay it once, right? You only have to lose its turn, so you could realistically do it multiple times as long as you're able to untap it.
Well, Marvel appears in the energy deck from Modern Horizons 3, but yes, I am sure there are a whole pile of people that are looking to do a whole lot of really dumb things with this sort of.
Because you literally only need to pay 4 energy, and if you can untap that artifact like 5 times, you still get to draw the cards because you already paid the energy that turn, or you lost it, so it doesn't matter. Like, you only have to do it once. So that's, I mean, I could see it. Let's see. The next card is kind of relevant to that card. It's called Sage of the Unknowable. It's a colorless and a blue human wizard, so it's 2 pretty good creature types for blue. And tap it, add a colorless, spend this mana only to cast a colorless spell or to activate an ability. And it's a 0/4, so it's very reminiscent to some of these standard cards we see that you can only pay for certain costs. But this has the only restriction it has is you can pay for a mana rock, or you can activate the ability of something else, which I find pretty low-key good, especially in blue, where you're doing a lot of that stuff anyway.
Yeah, I think that last bit of text, reactivate an ability, is increasingly relevant. I think there's a lot of people that are spell creatures that have activated abilities or artifacts or other things. And now, like, so for instance, we saw that Void Craw, and it has an activated ability to pay a colorless mana to activate to draw a card. Well, now you have your your colorless mana to draw your card, and they all go together in the same pile. The fact that it also be used to cast artifacts or as like tremendous. You're gonna so your mana rock or your big scary artifact, whatever that may be. Like, hey, I'm gonna play my Portal of Phyrexia or whatever it is, and like I'm gonna kill the board. Ha ha ha! Like, you can do it now and make it faster. So, and a 0/4, we talked, like Pete mentioned earlier with the Void Craw. The problem becomes 3 toughness gets killed by a lightning bolt or something equivalent. At 4 toughness, now you're talking about a different grade of removal needed to kill stuff. So it's going to be the threshold to kill it is going to be more difficult. So this is a good, solid body to put together, and is going to be just good. You're just going to have a good body, slow down somebody's troublesome early attacker, use it to ramp. This is going to get you exactly what you want for very little cost.
All right, what you got? I saw another energy payoff here.
Oh, well, this is the one that was making people excited. So Galvanic Discharge. This is this is going to be Red's energy like source of plowshares, I think. So 1 red for an instant, choose target creature or planeswalker. You get 3 energy, then you may pay any amount of energy. Galvanic Discharge deals that much damage to that permanent. So you're just going to blow up. This is your flexible burn spell. It's good early. You want to kill something small and troublesome. If you draw it late and you've got enough energy, you can literally use it to solve most of your problems, whatever it is. Big planeswalker, big powerful creature. You can solve a lot of problems with this. And the energy decks, I don't think you're going to have any hard time making more energy. So this seems like a really good inclusion. It's just like Harness Lightning. The only problem is Harness Lightning can go Dome, where this can't, but this also costs 1 mana, which is exactly what you want to play. Like, people are gonna have a really hard time playing around this if you're playing somebody in red. So I think it's really good.
I think in even it might even see play in CDH just because of all the small creatures that are played, but I don't see myself playing it in my red decks because I don't know if it's able to do enough to be relevant for the people I play with and stuff, like on like more daily basis. It'd be cool to see if it's able to work, or if you're able to copy it. You can copy it. That's pretty spicy, but I
Ooh, yeah.
don't know
Well,
because I just don't know.
It kills a Timna. Does it kill Thrasios? Kills a Thrasios. Like, it's like a lot of these. Like,
I just don't
a
know
lot
if
of
it's applicable for most. Like, if we're looking at a big picture, I feel
Yeah.
like there are other. Like, you could just play something else, like a lightning bolt, if you really needed to. But I see the appeal, especially in modern, as a sideboard and stuff like that. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think in
bad.
Commander it's going to be a very useful card as well.
This card, the next one that I got, currently sitting at 6 cents, which is kind of crazy. It's 2 other color and 2 blue pips. It's a shapeshifter rogue. You may have it copy Crook enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has whenever this creature attacks, it connives. Yeah. Card draw for free, and if you copy a hexproof creature or you copy something that's really massive, it'll just you can benefit off of someone else being greedy with their like commander, for example.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I mean, I like the text that it says it can be any as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. So that is just like the best thing your opponents have is now what you got in front of you. And then it's going to connive, which means it's likely going to outclass whatever they have pretty rapidly because it's just an attack trigger. So if you attack with it, make sure you pitch a non-land card, grow it a little bit. Chances are your opponent is going to say, well, that's going to be a problem because now you've outclassed my dragon or my whatever. Like, you just did it. So I'm a big fan. I think this is a really, really interesting card. And it's like that's the same cost that Clone cost us years ago. 3 and a blue is Clone. This is Clone, except it now has Connive attached to it, which there's no drawback there. There's nothing that says, oh, I don't think I should do that. No. Like, I'm doing that every day of the week. So that's a really good card.
Most clones, they also just blow something up of the same name. So you get the value when it ETBs, and that's usually that's it. Like Evil Twin.
Yeah.
And then there's a 6 mana one from one of the precons for Warhammer.
Well, Duplicant was the original Exile sort of version on that one. So
it's cool too because you can like I'm thinking like blue-black control, so you can like exile this from your graveyard, make a token copy of it that's a 4/4.
Ooh.
And then it comes in as a copy of whatever it copies.
With like Scarab God as well. Scarab God that. Ooh, yeah. I hadn't thought of that. I like
it's kind of like the undercover operative, the one that has the shield counter from
yeah.
You know, but this one's even better because it's like you get the card draw potentially immediately. If you're able to get it on the field as soon as that creature goes and declares as an attacker, you get the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, I like this card. This is really good.
What do you got? What do you got?
Let's see, what have I got? I've got come on, scroll of document. Okay. Oh, yeah, this one. Molten Gatekeeper, 2 and a red artifact creature Golem. It is a 2/3, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Molten Gatekeeper deals 1 damage to each opponent, and it has unearth for a single red. That's impact tremors attached to a body.
Yep.
There's like impact tremors already wins games, and now they gave us another one, and when it dies, if you're going to go off with your Krenko or whatever, and you need to get this on the battlefield, now you can unearth it. Then you go Krenko and make all the tokens, and you've done the thing, and so you're going to win. So like this is just a really good redundant effect. If people were already looking to play Impact Tremors, you're going to play this alongside Impact Tremors. This is going to go in the same package as your Perforos and your Impact Tremors and this now. And
this might replace it too. Like in certain decks, if you can recur this pretty easily because it's an artifact. Like if you're playing like the Ready, for example, or you're playing a deck that cares about artifacts. It might even just be better to run this instead of the Impact Tremors. Because
maybe.
it's a creature, and if you're in red, there's not a big chance that you'll be able to recur the permanents unless you're playing like Underworld Breach, but that's one card out of 100. So
Yeah.
I like the potential here. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems
And it's
like
11 cents.
yeah, it doesn't hurt to just try it. This is my favorite red card. So the next card that we're gonna have on this list here, it's Glimpse the Impossible.
Oh my. Yeah.
So it's 2 colorless and a red. It's a sorcery. I already just actually won with this card a few days ago against some friends. But you exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. So it's already extremely good card advantage. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, put them into your graveyard and create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token for each card put into your graveyard this way. Those tokens have, sacrifice, add a colorless. So the crazy thing is it says at the beginning of the next end step. So not like if you play it on your turn, you have 2 turns at least to figure out if you want to play these cards.
I think what's crazy is that if you weren't able to cast them, they go to your graveyard.
Yeah, so you can potentially play them again, like flash them back or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, flashback, or you can delve them, or you can whatever. Like they're just like usually when things are exiled, you lose access to them, and you're like, oh well, I exiled my thing. But now you're like, oh, now I exiled them and I get them back.
This is a budget-friendly Jessica's Will as well.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because like Jessica's Will is a really, really solid card. Most red decks will run the card, but this card actually does that as well. Except you don't lose the cards, which is kind of neat. And
yeah,
a lot of these exile effects, they feel bad. You know what I mean?
Well, they can. If you hit something big and you're like, oh, I can't cast that. Yeah. But this is like, you don't even have the feel bad. So like, oh, just go to the bin. I can get them back. Yeah. Okay. So and particularly if you're playing mono red, you're going to use like your Feldon or your Duretti or whatever. You're going to get them back. And you're like, they're going to be right back on the battlefield in a moment. So, audience, can you tell that I've seen this strategy employed too frequently? Yes, I have.
Sorry. Yeah. I use Dark Dweller Oracle a lot, and it feels bad when I use Dark Dweller Oracle and I brick off of the card that I exiled. Because like early game, you play this again. It's kind of like that green card we featured in the Garbage or Great. Even if you brick on it, you still get some value after the fact that you can potentially use. And it gets more cards off the top, so you're not bricking on like lands or you're getting spells in your hand. So not to like gas this up too much, but I think this is a sleeper.
It's very good.
Alrighty.
All right, I got one more. I got Propagator Drone. So This is a 1 and a green for a 2/2. So you got a grizzly bear, but it's not really a bear because it's an Eldrazi drone. And it has Devoid. And it says, creature tokens you control have Evolve. Now, Evolve's an old keyword that was from Gatecrash as a Simic keyword that says, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it has greater power or toughness than this token, put a +1/+1 counter on this token. And then 3 and a green, create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token with sacrifices creature. Add a colorless. Well, okay, so this to me seems like it's the best of all worlds. Because if you have a bunch of creature tokens on the battlefield, let's imagine you've got a green-white tokens deck. Very plausible. But the problem with green-white tokens, you're often playing soldiers, or you're playing elves, or you're playing small creatures. But now they all have evolved. So when you play that 2/2 and then a 3/3 or a 4/4, as value creatures, now you're swelling your team, and they're going to be big. Audience, think about this. If you played Avenger of Zendikar, how many times have we all died to Avenger of Zendikar and a couple of land drops, and now instead of having 0/1 plants, they're 3/4s, and you die? So this is what this is going to produce. However, if you don't have bodies yet, because board wipe, something, now you've got the capacity to make the bodies that have evolved. So it is your payoff, it is your enabler, all at once for 2 mana. What's not to like? I don't know. This to me, if you're like, as someone who plays a lot of token strategies, this is going in every single one.
This goes crazy in like green white go wide Cathar's Crusade sort of idea where everything just gets fatter and fatter. If you can move the counters around, that's also kind of crazy because you'll recycle that. So like if you can remove the counters from the like 0 ones, yeah, like the 0 ones, or even like flyers, like how many times do people give you like a 1/1 bird, like a swan song? They swan song your stuff. It's a 2/2 bird or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it has evolved, so that it becomes like a 3/3 or something. You play like zombies or something like that, where you're making a bunch of 2/2s. You just need a 3/3 to trigger all of them, or a 1/3.
Yeah. So it just to me it just smells like it's almost like
weirdly enough.
It's a win con, right? At 2 mana, and like part of me thinks it feels like lazy design because they gave us the whole package on one card. You got your win con, you got the enabler. You just need to decide what you need to prioritize right now. Oh, do I need to make my tokens bigger? Oh, I'll play dudes. Oh, I don't have any dudes. I'm going to make dudes. I'm going to make the dudes. There's nothing not to like. And at 2 mana, like, what's the cost against your deck? Oh, I can't afford a 2-drop. No. You can afford a 2-drop. So this card is going to be terrific. I'm thinking right now, I've got a 2 green-white token deck going straight in there. I've got a black-green Saproings deck going straight in there. Any deck that has playing tokens is doing it, and I'm just going to enjoy
even like 3, like if you're making like 3/3 tokens for some reason, like maybe you're in red-green. Beast tokens and stuff. You could hypothetically go crazy with that. Atraxa proliferating it. That's like a no-brainer as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you
now
can
you're
do.
talking my language. You're talking my language.
That's why we are on a podcast together, my friend.
Oh, oui, but monsieur. Tu parles ma langue.
This next one, I would speak French for this one. I would speak French for this one. It's pretty spicy. So it's Grim Servant. It's a 3 colorless and black uncommon with menace, zombie warlock. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card with mana value less than or equal to your devotion to black. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and you lose 3 life. This just could win you the game on the spot. We don't have to really cover this card. I mean, I have a friend who runs a very high-powered black shouldered 7-mana shouldered list, and he's played it, and I'm sure he's won the game with this just coming out once.
Yeah, dude, it's a tutor on a stick. It's like, I need a tutor. I'm gonna like imagine in the worst case scenario, the floor for this card is you resolve it, and you have no other creatures. It gets you your Saw Ring or your Skull Clamp or whatever you need. If you've got some number of tokens or some number of black pips on the board, it's a diabolic tutor that leaves you a 3/2 body with menace. Like, there's nothing not to like. The only time you are not happy is if you're at 3 life and you can't really use it. But I think
in that color, it doesn't matter. Life is just another resource. I mean,
absolutely. I have a feeling this is going to appear in Grevin, and I'm going to eat some scary things. No,
I have like a fringe CDH Yawgmoth list that I've been putting together for a while, just to have in case my friends want to play higher powered or whatever. But
I understand.
Okay. Sorry, the last one I had to open and it wasn't opening. Okay, so the last one, which a friend just played against me, and I thought it was really cool. I used the Beast Within on it. I thought it was too scary, but it wasn't that bad in the moment. But it would have snowballed, I'm sure. It's called Monstrous Vortex. It's 3 colorless and a green enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 5 or greater, discover X, where X is that spell's mana value. So,
yes. I'm in. So one of the things that makes this card appealing is that it triggers on whether or not you care about the power of the creature, not the mana value. So I recently built a Varol's deck, and so I know there's a whole lot of cards that have high power for reasonable amounts of mana, So you're not paying 5, 6, 7 mana. You're paying 3, maybe 4 mana, and you're going to be able to generate like discover triggers off this. And like discover triggering is like just better cascade, because what you're going to do is you're going to look at the card, you can put it in play or put it in your hand. There's no drawback. So this card is going to be pretty appealing. I might go look for it for my Varol's deck because I think it's going to be a pretty strong inclusion. I'm thinking things like Deadbridge Goliath, or your Rotting Regisaur, or your like all sorts of big high power things that yeah. Like you
Maelstrom Pulse. No, I guess it enters as 0/0. The Maelstrom card, the 5 mana Lord of Extinction. Is that what it's called?
Lord
it doesn't
of Extinction
count because it enters as a 0. It's a 0/0 technically.
Yeah. But anyway, this seems like fun. I'm a big fan. I like this card significantly. I'm going to be finding a couple of copies.
I think the only drawback is the randomization of it, like the cascade sort of effect, where you might brick. But again, you can choose to put it into your hand. So even if you pull out something that's like
built-in 2 for 1 it's a built-in 2 for 1 every time, man. Like it's I don't know. Like you could look at it as a drawback. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to get, but I'm like, I think it's a built-in 2 for 1 every time, and you're like, eventually your 2 for 1 is going to work out for you to be good. So
sure,
I'm pretty on board.
Yeah, I think there's potential. I think all these cards are surprisingly going to see some more play once people realize.
And they're cheap. Like I don't think any of them we saw today cost more than 40 cents.
Yeah, seriously, that's ridiculous.
Like you're going to be able to find things that are very budget conscious to add to your deck, and they're going to add some significant upgrades in terms of power level to your deck. If you can't afford Jessica's Will, put the glimpse of the impossible in your deck. You can't afford like Impact Tremor is $1 or $1.25 a piece. Oh, I got a 11 cents Molten whatever, the red creature that does it. You got tons of great new options that are going to be budget friendly, that are going to make your decks that much better than they were before.
Do you think someone in the drawing board room when they designed the set was like, let's just make Pauper as broken as we can make it? You know what I mean? Because
dude, I haven't even thought about Pauper.
You know what I mean? Because like I was just thinking, you know how they pre-banned like that one card, the Cranial card in Pauper. But I was thinking like there's a lot of other cards that you like they're just really strong. So yeah, I'm excited to see what people do with them, and I think it's good to go back to our roots, because that's how we started playing, really, and that's how I started playing Commander for sure, was just buying a bunch of bulk stuff at a store, commons and uncommons, see what I could put together, and then eventually get the rares and the mythics if I had the money at the time.
Yeah, so. I mean, I often used to build decks the same way. I would build the shell out, and then with commons and uncommons as placeholders, and then I would take things in and out and build your deck up to where it was, as good as you're going to get it without springing for the $400, $500 cards that are probably out of your price range. But
doesn't matter if you win a game, right? Doesn't matter how expensive your cards are.
Well, yes, true. If you win a game with 25-cent commons and clown the $400 guy with the $400 Mox Diamond in his deck, but because it's just a Mox Diamond, but if you're spending $400 so you can clown your friends at the kitchen table on Saturday night, we might need to have a conversation about your deck construction, because apparently your deck construction is a little bit lopsided. Speaking of deck construction, Pete, I think you found some interesting conversation around deck construction.
Yeah, we're not gonna spoil that for next week just yet, but a lot of people are talking, especially with this set coming out, how to build a deck, like in general, what they're looking for, and especially a lot of the mythics are not that expensive. A lot of the newer like commanders that are in this set that you can build around, or build as a complementary piece. Like I was really surprised some of these cards are not as expensive as I expected them to be. So we're gonna touch base on that next week.
Absolutely.
I hope that everyone has a great week. We'll see you in the coming week, and we're looking to do some more things here. Bruce, I've had some friends reach out to me and are like, let's see if we can try to record. And I'm like we're gameplay. And I'm like, okay, I mean, hopefully that can occur in the future. I think that would be great.
Awesome.
I think that would be great. So
Cool. Super
we'll get there.
fun.
We'll get there. We'll get there. And if you stuck with us this far, thank you so much. We'd like to thank our future sponsors, and we'd also like to thank Nick Douglas. And eventually our logo will be rendered, Bruce. So I'm just waiting on this friend of mine. So I'm just waiting on her. She's taking her time, which is totally fine with me. So.
We're in no rush. We've gone 176 episodes without a proper logo. Whenever it gets done the right way, we're going to be excited here. So exciting news coming, folks. We're really, really pumped here, and we're glad to be back after having had a bit of a break. So yeah, check us out on all your favorite podcast apps, and of course, thelotuscouncil.com. All right, everybody. I think that's it. Pete, have a good week, bud.
You too.
Peace.
Stay salty.